Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about new Spelljammers, Adventures in Space, and which Dungeons and Dragons settings benefit the most from this new setting area. All right, so actually, let's talk directly about Greyhawk, which is specifically Ghost in Saltmarsh. Introduces us to Greyhawk in Dungeons and Dragons, and it explains that there's a king in Keoland, King Scooty, and Ghost Saltmarsh itself is a small little town that likes to stay in the shadows. And the reason it stays in the shadows is there's a bunch of smugglers who live there. So Saltmarsh is an absolutely fantastic adventure. But what it really is it is by far the best Dungeons and Dragons source book to explain every single type of sailing ship that exists, except spelljamming ships. But we're going to tell you what. But I'm going to tell you today why Saltmarsh has a lot of wealth coming into it from the new Spelljammer setting, right? So basically, let's look at what's happening in specifically in Saltmarsh. So Saltmarsh is a tiny little kind of drab town, and they want to keep it drab and they want to keep it quiet. And the reason why is they're making a ton of gold running hidden cargo, right? Essentially, there's a word for it, like it starts with a C. Contraband. They're running contraband. They're smuggling all kinds of magical items, fish, textiles, all these kind of things. Now, why is this illegal? Well, the reason they run them through Saltmarsh is so that they don't have to pay the taxes on them, right? And the book does a really good job of explaining that there's a long tradition of smuggling in Saltmarsh. And basically everybody's happy to do business with Saltmarsh because they don't have to pay King Scooty his like 10-20% depending on what goods they are, right? And a lot of gold flows to Saltmarsh, but they try to fly under the radar, right? Well, the Saltmarsh adventure is when royalists show up, right? And these are King Scooty sends a whole group of dwarven miners, right? And he goes, hey, get on up there, and I want you to give me, get on, go north to Saltmarsh, and I want you to start mining the mountains near Saltmarsh, and I want you to go in there, and I want you to spend your coin at all their, at their taverns, and I want you to buy textiles from them, and the coin I pay you to mine, and the gold that's coming up, I want that spent in Saltmarsh, and I want to turn Saltmarsh from a drab little smuggler's hole to a shining metropolis. And I want your gold and the gold you dig out of there to attract artists, to attract scribes, to attract, knowledge workers, essentially, right? Wizards and paladins and clerics, right? And we want there to be a robust, bustling metropolis there. And the reason why is those smugglers are going to find it hard to sneak their contraband past my royal ships, and I'm going to start getting my taxes back, right? So now here's the thing, right? So basically, Saltmarsh is just packed with highly skilled sailors. Guess what? All those spelljamming ships, right, that are flying through, from wild space system to realm space system to wild space system, right? They're all, right over from the Dungeons and Dragons worlds directly over to the canon Dungeons and Dragons worlds and the canon Magic the Gathering worlds of Ravnica, Strixhaven, and Theros, right? Which connect. I forgot. Also, the canon Magic the Gathering, Kaladesh, canon realms that have standing products that have converted them from official Magic the Gathering worlds to official Dungeons and Dragons worlds, and those include Ixalan through Planeshift Ixalan, Planeshift Dominaria, Planeshift Innistrad, Planeshift Zendikar, and I think there's like two more of them, right? Like there's literally 6 official settings that are both canon Magic the Gathering worlds and canon Dungeons and Dragons worlds through products that have statted them on both sides of the line, right? And then, of course, there are 3 256-page canon Dungeons and Dragons books that are also canon Magic the Gathering worlds, which is Strixhaven, Theros, and Ravnica, right? The poorest lines between Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons have been built for 10 years and are incredibly porous, and characters and magic items flow freely between both worlds, right? So basically, in order to get to all those worlds, right, you need skilled sailors. So these sailors at Saltmarsh have now become far more valuable, right? And they don't just have to stay in that podunk town avoiding, King Scooty's royal patrols, which was pretty easy, right? They can take their skills on the road, and I mean the star roads, like the astral sea. They don't have to kick around in the seas near Saltmarsh. They can literally go to the astral seas, right? And so one of the settings, the Dungeons & Dragons canon settings, Greyhawk, that really benefits more than any other is specifically Greyhawk, specifically Keoland, and Saltmarsh within Keoland. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.